Whoops. Oh no. Good afternoon. I'm back again. I know I was just here. But now, I'm actually going to work on some of my own stuff instead of work. St1E, what's up, man? Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for stopping in. Caught this one at least, yeah. This is kind of late for you, isn't it? What time is it there? The time zone thing kind of sucks, don't it? It just seems like it's impossible to find a time that works for everybody, you know? 2 seems to work pretty good for me. It's kind of like later in the afternoon. It's a good time for my lunch. It's 8 p.m. Nice. Okay, so not terribly late. Okay. So you're not going to have to stay up to like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to catch the stream. That's not bad. Not bad at all. I think I accidentally just duplicated my stream. Let's see. This time is awesome. Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah, I think this is going to be when I kind of settled on, like, this is going to be the time I aim to stream each day. I haven't really enjoyed staying up late and streaming. Like, at nighttime, I kind of like the ability to just sit and focus and really advance projects and hang out with my wife. So I think I'm going to try to aim for this, just streaming for about an hour over my lunchtime. And then if I get a wild hair to stream longer or later on other days, I will. But I'm going to aim for this to be more of the consistent period of the day. I don't really have, I actually don't have a ton planned, although I wanted to catch up with people about the TypeScript announcement. I was outside walking, literally just like 45 minutes ago, just getting in the sun because it's like 70 degrees here. St1E, have you messed around with Go? I have not yet messed with it, but that actually bleeds into the whole TypeScript announcement really well. Hold on, I just want to make sure I didn't accidentally create 2 different lives. I can delete this one. Delete forever. Yeah, delete this one forever. Yeah, St1E, I guess that's what they're claiming, is that they're going to rewrite the TypeScript compiler and the TypeScript language server. I guess I shouldn't say they're going to. I guess they already have begun the progress. And they just announced it today that they're doing it, I guess. There's actually a really great video. I shared it to my YouTube channel that is from Anders Halsberg. He's kind of talking about the rewrite, but he said they're about 80% done already with the CLI. And so, yeah, I guess we're going to have some faster TypeScript compilation here pretty soon. I think they said the JavaScript version, the JavaScript code base will be maintained through like 6 point something, and then when they release TypeScript 7 will be the Go implementation. Yeah, I didn't see the video's good. He does, but yeah, so yeah, I guess they talked about, he talked about it in that video, but he also talked about it in interview, but they talked about how like they considered doing it in C#, but that Go was, as a programming language, was going to be easier to port TypeScript code to, or JavaScript code to. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing you are, St1E, where you say, I guess I chose the right time to learn it. That's what I was thinking, is like, oh, well, I guess I need to go check out what Go's all about. Not that necessarily you need to know Go to work in TypeScript now. It's just kind of makes me interested. Like, if Anders Halsberg is looking at Go as a programming language for projects, it's like, man, I should know some Go. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna catch up with you, St1E, or I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna catch up, but I'm gonna try to keep up with you. and learn some Go. So yeah, I haven't looked at any of it yet. So yeah, hi. How are you doing? Hi. Kyrie, Ky, Kriti? I don't know how to say their name. Kriti TV. God made me allergic to tomatoes. Lord, cast my curse over to someone more deserving. Wait, so since you're allergic to tomatoes, you want to give your allergy to other people? That doesn't seem nice. See when you're gonna surpass me in no time. Trust me. Nah, man. I think you've already got a head start. I'm just gonna try to keep up. I think the first thing I want to try to do is like kind of what you did, whereas like learn to write a CLI tool, and then like you said, go to an API. That's kind of how I learned C sharp. With C sharp, I started with like a console application, then class libraries. Programming 12 official. Hi, what's up, Programming 12 official? How are you doing? You can cast it to me. I don't really like tomatoes, anyways. Oh, well, yeah. I guess if you gave your allergy to tomatoes to somebody who doesn't like tomatoes, that really wouldn't be a bad thing. I really do like tomatoes, though, so don't give it to me. Don't give it to me. That means no pizza, no lasagna, no spag, bull, no ketchup. Yeah, I guess if you think about like everything tomatoes used in, that might not be fun. Steve, he's a carnivore, so he doesn't even give a shit. I love that. Okay, well, we talked about the Go. I don't know if anybody else here have any other opinions about the TypeScript rewrite to Go. I just wanted to mention it because I know there's some people in my chat that their primary language is TypeScript, so it just happened today, so I'm sure there'll be more to come out about it. I know there's a guy, Matt Pocock. I think that's how you say his name. He's going to interview Anders on let's see, Total TypeScript. He's going to interview Anders, I think, on Friday, so I'll probably watch that. And that's probably the best thing to be looking for now if you're curious about it. Um, total Go rewrite total TypeScript. Yeah, I'll paste this in the chat. You guys might if you're into TypeScript, you may want to tune into this. There you go. It's gonna be on Friday at 11 a.m. I guess CST for me. Programming 12. You should use 50,000 functions. What are you talking about? You can tell I'm bulking just by the way I eat. So, Steve1E, is the bulking breakfast a real thing where you're from? Is that like a legit? I mean, I've seen the social media trend, but is that like a legit type of meal? Bulking breakfast. Steve1E says, "Hell yeah, finally got to do something in the right time." Okay, so well, I kind of have a list of things we can do on stream. Let's see. I write code in binary. Oh man, you're intense. Stew, yeah, that's it, kind of. Yeah, a Balkan breakfast. That it's something I saw on TikTok, and supposedly it's how certain people in certain areas of the world eat. I also found this really cool database on GitHub. Let's see, it's called PG Electric, I think is the name of it. I want to check this out too. Oh no, it's called Electric Sequel. Or no, PG Lite by Electric Sequel. I also want to check this out at some point. It looks pretty cool. Did you guys see this thing? This is somebody in my chat earlier today told me about this. This AI vibe coded game. 70 hours for an if statement, but it's worth it. That doesn't seem worth it at all, man. Doesn't seem worth it at all. Apparently this was a vibe coded game. It's all coded by AI. But apparently people are going nuts over it. That's what that's what one guy in my chat told me today. Let's see. It's a flight simulator that was all built by AI. Type your name, Steven. How do I go? Oh god. Oh my goodness. You see who I was killed by? That's obnoxious. That's obnoxious. Yeah, I don't know. Apparently that guy's making a bunch of money off of people like advertising their startup on his flight simulator. CA Golang is the best. Okay, nice. We have a Golang taker. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna get in that boat too because it seems like it's Go is gonna be more relevant in my world for a little while. Although I still like, it's kind of a dumb thing to say because like I don't need to know Go to use a TypeScript compiler that's written in Go, but I guess the fact that they chose to write the TypeScript compiler in Go instead of using a .NET language has me interested. Like, oh, interesting. And I don't think it was like, I don't think their choice of Go was like a criticism of .NET languages. I just think it was about the amount of work, the amount of friction, the style of code that their existing code base uses. St1E, what is vibe coding? I saw some video of some guy hating it, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, I was kind of so basically the whole idea behind the vibe coding thing, right, is this idea that like you just kind of like work with AI and do what feels good and what comes out is great. To me though, it's just another term for like a greenfield project, right? It's like coding without any restrictions of a existing paradigm or existing patterns or trying to match existing styles. You can basically just do whatever you want, and as long as it works, it's great, right? And I think AI is particularly well suited. I feel like AI's perfect problem space is 0 to 1. It's the blank page problem. So I think it's great for greenfield projects and for vibe coding. I think it's a great use case. I think my struggle with AI coding is whenever Steven, can you see my chats above? I can indeed. Search up Leba I Mass for a truly goated meal. Oh, okay, let me check that out. I missed that one, sorry. I guess I should. It's taking me to a restaurant. Is it a type of food? Leba I Masty. Oh, it's like a piece of bread, and then you put what, lard on it? Is that what it is? Pro Gaming 12 official AI 5 minutes to generate 4 hours to debug. It's T1E. It is. Go to images. Yeah, is this what you're talking about? That T1E? Is it good? I like bread, so I'd be down with trying it. Yeah, and the whole AI coding thing is definitely a thing. Like I just think like my problem with AI coding has always been like it's great when it's helping me solve small problems. It's great for like blank page problems like 0 to 1. I don't know what I'm doing. Please get me started. But whenever I've ever had to like work with it to solve things in a very specific way or to build a component or a UI that has a specific style or matches an existing precedent, that seems to be a struggle. I feel like I spend so much time coaxing it to get it to do what I want, which I'm sure the prompt engineers out there are like, skill issue. But I get frustrated to where I'm like, man, I should just do this myself. I'd save so much time. Stew and eating so good. Well, that's good, man. I'm glad. I'll have to try it sometime. CA, I found 3.5 Turbo is great. Helps me to write a lot of boilerplate code. Yeah, I mean, not to knock any of the models. I feel like whenever you get into that world of like if someone came to you and was like, hey, we have this component, it's written in Vue, we need to rewrite it so that it works in React, but it needs to be identically styled and identically functional, right? It needs to have all the implicit and explicit behaviors. That's the part that type of problem seems like it becomes very difficult to get the AI to do it. Like it will spit you out something that is relatively right or relatively works, but then you end up having to like, no, use blue, no, use this color, no, use that color, no, don't do that. Like, and then you're just like, well, why don't I just do this myself? Good use for AI in programming is just for testing apps, trying to find some obvious bugs. Yeah, I think AI writes really great tests. Like Copilot sometimes blows me away. Where like if I have like a function that I want to write a test open in one window or one buffer, and then I open my test file in another, it seems to do a really great job at picking up on all the different like conditionals and return cases that are in that function and generating. I mean, I might have to like change like some mocking, like maybe I have to mock something and it didn't know that. Um, but yeah, it's very helpful for writing tests, and I could see it very helpful as like a tester, right? Like you could maybe like give it cases and say, what other things have I not thought about? When you realize that the bug that took you 6 hours to debug was just that instead of if you typed id. Yeah, I think you mentioned that programming before yesterday or the day before. That's the worst. Will AI take all the jobs by 2030? No. No, it's not going to take all the jobs by 2030, man. What is that, 5 years away? Woo. Nah, that's not happening. I mean, it may take some jobs, right? But like, it's not taking all the jobs. We are still a long ways away from AI doing a lot of work. Should I still learn video editing CGI? I say learn whatever you're interested in, Ali. If you love it and you enjoy it, it brings you fulfillment and energy. Chase that. Like chase that thing. That's what I say. Regardless of AI. Must say also generate the view code I want. I always give them some examples of my code and style, almost hit 95, then spend just a few minutes, save a lot of time. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just haven't had the same experience with front end code. Actually, CA, the thing I run in with view code a lot is it always wants to generate either Vue 2 style code or options API view code, and I always have to explicitly prompt it. Please use single file components and the composition API. You can just tell it's been trained on a huge amount of historical data that weights it towards like the older style of Vue components. That the same thing for C# code. Like a lot of times Copilot will want to generate, file, what is it? Block scoped namespaces, and now we have file scope namespaces. And so you can just tell there's an inherent lag in like the data it was trained on, or the code it was trained on, and now the new modern version of that same code, which is kind of frustrating sometimes. So yeah, that's why I give it that example. Yeah, I mean that's a great approach. It's just kind of annoying. It's like, it's just kind of annoying to have to do that. I mean, I feel like people are like, yeah, that's the skill issue. You need to be a better prompt engineer. I just find that a little bit of a game I don't want to play. Like, you're supposed to be this sentient being, right? Everyone says like, this AI is so impressive, it's so good, but yet I have to play this game of like, what's the right input tokens to get the right output tokens I want, which is the game everybody's playing. People just want to describe it in more sophisticated words. That people have all these like prompt frameworks. It's like when asking a colleague to write something, you must be explicit. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think that's fair. Sith Ether, that happens with Godot all the time. You mean the old code synth ether, like a Copilot or the AI always wants to generate kind of older looking code. Programming, do you know batch scripting? I know a little bit of batch. I took free code camps. They have a course for writing bash script, writing bash. So I went through it. I just don't use it every day. So it's again, it's one of those skills that's like, I know what it's there. I kind of know how I could use it to do things, but almost every time I use it, I have to go look it up, or I have to go ask Copilot to help me. If I used it every day, like if I had a job or something that I used it every day, I'd probably be better. The bash wizard that I like to watch is there's a YouTuber. He was a TikToker, I think, primarily, and then I think he switched over to making YouTube content recently. What's his name? You Suck at Programming. You Suck at Programming, I think his real name's Dave Eddy. But he has a ton. If you like bash scripting, this is the guy. This is the guy to watch. Steve1E. Yeah, it's 8 p.m. where you are, huh? It's dinner time for you. Oh, sorry, Ali. I missed your question earlier, didn't I? In your opinion, which jobs are in high risk of AI takeover? I dislike it, bro, but video editing makes money. I like money, and that's enough motivation. Yeah, I mean, money's always a great motivation. High risk for AI takeover? I mean, I think coding and programming is probably a higher risk, right? I don't think the risk is as high as most people think, though, in my opinion. But if you had to pick, like, coding, programming, it seems like a lot of effort's being applied there in terms of developing solutions that not necessarily replace programmers and coders, but make them more productive. It seems like anything that has to do with being able to regurgitate large amounts of information is probably going to become more and more commoditized, right? I'm thinking like lawyers, tax preparers. Although this is a thing. I just think that like at some level, there's an aspect to all these professions that you're just not going to quite be able to replicate with LLMs, right? I think the LLMs are just more going to augment and make them more productive. Synth Eater, yes, exactly. Godot updates frequently, and ChatGPT seems to only give his answers based on what he knows instead of looking up. Yeah, and that's a problem, right? With the LLMs, this is it's part of the fact that they're trained on data, and so they don't really get refreshed. Their memory, right, knowledge doesn't get refreshed, right, until you get the new model that went through the training process all over again. History Gaming, hello, how are you? I am doing well. Thanks for stopping in. It's been a minute since I've seen you, History Gaming. That guy has a great beard. He does have a great beard. Allie, lessen the load as in junior's gone. True. Allie, true. And that's type. I don't know if you guys follow Typecraft. Um, Typecraft.dev. He has a YouTube channel, but he made a good video about that. About there could be what's his YouTube channel. I think is by the same name. I think it's Typecraft. He made a great video, kind of talking about that, Allie, about how, you know, AI is going to be helpful. This is the video. Developers are getting screwed. Like there's this problem that we're going to run into a little bit where, you know, if people don't hire juniors and don't invest in juniors, then eventually there's not any seniors. And maybe some people believe that doesn't matter because AI will supplant us all, but I do think that will matter in 5 or 10 years. Let's see. Steve, have you ever used Podman? I haven't. The only place I've ever heard of Podman before, I know what it is, right? It's like an open source Docker for containers, right? Container runtime. The only place I've heard this referenced is when talking about Aspire, which is a new .NET thing, and they talk about how you don't have to necessarily use Docker, you can use Podman, but I haven't ever used it. I guess I should. That's another thing I need to add to my list, my ever-growing list of things I need to learn about. Try out Podman. Oh, we already looked at the AI Vibe game. History gaming. Sir, what book do you read for web dev? I don't have it. I don't really have any books to recommend for web development because I really didn't use any to learn it. The learning resource I would point you towards for web dev is Free Code Camp. Allie, that's a big list, brother. Yeah, and it just keeps getting longer. I know, it just keeps getting longer. Allie, I'll pray for you. Yeah, I don't know. And some days I just don't feel like doing anything on the list. Iman, sending love from Israel. Well, that's nice of you, man. I missed your chat. Sorry, that was a while ago. Do you know Pygame? I don't, but I did. I had a subscriber. I had a subscriber here. Hold on, let me disable this. I had a subscriber send me this. Hold on one sec. Game? Yeah. He sent me a game he built in Pygame. It's a really simple game, but he's Finnish. He's from Finland, so that's why I don't know what the words say. But he built this with Pygame. Like it's like a leveler, right? You're supposed to jump up and get cans, and then So that's the only thing I know about Pygame. I added this screen to the game for him. I added that information. That's as much as I've ever used Pygame before. That dog behind you is so cute. Yeah, that's my wiener dog over there. His name's Opie. And yeah, one of my kids is here. He's sick, so he's home from school. Although he doesn't look super sick today. He's been on antibiotics, so I think he's starting to feel much better. But yeah, normally Steve and my kids go to school. When I stream, usually, at least during the weekdays, but one of them's here with me today. Steven, you should add Pet's channel on Discord. Oh yeah, for sure. We can do that. Yeah, I'll do it right now. Otherwise, I'll forget. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Create a new channel. Pets. Create channel. There you go. History gaming. Yeah. Yeah, he's a good dude. He's an old guy. He's kind of become a little grumpy in his old age. He kind of just wants to do whatever the fuck he wants. And sometimes that's an issue for me because I want him to listen to me. But yeah. One thing I kind of was interested to do today, or was interested to do today, was to have you guys heard of make their MCP prototype? Have you guys heard of MCP? It's something that I need to deactivate. It's something that the Anthropic group has developed. Let's see, Anthropic MCP. It stands for Model Context Protocol. Oh, nice, D1E. Nice dog. Cute dog, man. He's an old guy, huh? Or old girl. If he doesn't look sick, make him center a div. Wise words. Yeah, but you wouldn't do that to your child, man. History gaming, sir. Do you use Linux? I use Linux primarily for hosting purposes. So I have a couple Linux VPSs that I use, right? So if I need to do Linuxy things, I can do that. Well, SSH Tinker. Huh. Not sure why that's not working. But yeah, I do have a couple servers, so a couple Linux servers, and then I also have WSL that I can use. But for the most part, I usually just work on a Windows machine. It's a guy. His name is Rastislav. Rastislav. Try to pronounce it. I dare you. Did I get anywhere close to the right thing? Excuse me. Just means I need more coffee. Yeah, I kind of wanted to try to build an MCP server. But I wanted to try to use the software that my company makes as the data source. First S is not pronounced as SH, but rather just S. So, Rastislav? Rastislav? Yeah, I know that's hard, man. I'm an English speaker. We're terrible at speaking other languages. You were close enough where he turned around when he heard you. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, man. Aren't dogs wonderful? They really are man's best friend. Although my wife, if she heard me say that, aren't dogs wonderful, she would be like, "You're so full of shit." Because I get so angry with my dog sometimes. Because sometimes he's just so stubborn as hell, man. First one you said was exactly it. Okay, cool. Has anyone ever tried making a programming language? At this point, Redstone is a programming language. Yeah, it's pretty cool what people can do with Redstone in Minecraft. I've never tried making a programming language. I've heard a lot of people recommend it as something that you should try to do, like as a learning exercise, right? To like that way you have to learn how to build a parser. You have to learn about abstract syntax trees. So like I've heard a Lexer. I think you have to build a Lexer. So I've heard people say that it's a good exercise, but I've never done it. So I'm gonna do this MCP quick start because I'd really like to learn more about how you actually do this. Okay. It works like binary because redstone that is not active returns 0, but active redstone returns 1 in the Minecraft code. Well, there you go. I mean, that's all you need, right? Um, at the end of the day, every programming language in the world gets interpreted, compiled, whatever you want to call it, right? Gets turned into ones and zeros on some processor somewhere, which is pretty wild. It also makes you really appreciate all these high level programming languages, right? At least I mean it makes me appreciative of them. The .bf file, if you know. I don't know what that is. What's the .bf file? Pablo. Oh, MCP. I'm writing one myself. Oh, nice, Pablo. What are you? So what are you doing with MCP? Are you writing a client? Are you writing a server? I'm interested in writing an MCP server that talks to the SaaS application that my company makes. It's not work related at all. It's just my own little personal, like, I've seen MCP and thought, well, that's really cool. I wonder if I could wire that up to our public API. What are you doing with it, though, Pablo? I'd love to hear more about it. It's a language called Brain. I've never heard of that. Brainfuck? Is that literally a thing? I've heard of the Rockstar programming language, but I don't think I've ever heard of. This is crazy. I didn't even know this existed. That's hilarious. Dude, I tell you what, people who are into coding and programming are just like, I mean, they're just a different breed of human. Block. Hello, Block. Plonk. Hi, man. Can I get a shout out to Alpha Kenny 1? Sure. What's up? Let's see. I'm writing a server that can query stuff from my Obsidian. Oh, that's cool. That's a really neat idea. How's it? Have you found it difficult to do, or difficult to work with? I'm literally just doing their quick start to see if I can just like conceptually understand, and then maybe I can try to make my own. But I'm curious if you found it difficult. Steven check general. Let me look. Programming, that looks like a cursed language. Programming 12. How many coding languages do you know? So no, I would say like I know CSS, I know HTML, I know JavaScript, TypeScript, I know C#, and I know Python. Although Python, I'm a little rusty because I don't write it very often. So it seems like every time I go to write it, I feel like I'm starting all over again. But then after writing it for a little bit, it starts to come back. D1E, though, has inspired me, as well as that recent TypeScript announcement has definitely inspired me to learn Go. So, and I've also wanted to learn Rust. So I'm kind of in the process of trying to know more. It's just hard. It's one of those things where it's like, once you know a programming language, right, it's probably best to get really good at it and get deep at it, and then it makes it hard to like spend time learning other ones. There's just only so much time in the day, right? Pablo. Also, yeah, mine is a bit complicated because on one side I have a watch script that monitors file changes and stores stuff on a vector DB, and then the NCP queries that. The NCP part is the easy stuff. Okay, cool. That's good to know. That's a pretty cool little idea. So you have a watch script, so it detects the file changes, and then it takes that file and embeds it. So it reads the whole file into text and sends that off to an embedding model somewhere. How are you doing the embeddings? And what are you using for your vector DB? Curious. Pablo, Rust learning curve is rough. Go is easy. Yeah, the Rust learning curve does seem rough. The borrow checking. I read that chapter, the borrow checker chapter in the Rust programming language book. I think I've read that 3 times at this point. Pablo, pretty much. Nice, dude. That sounds like a really fun project. LanceDB with Ollama for embeddings with Nomic. Dude, Ollama using Nomic that's what I used for a couple POC projects that I did that were kind of work related, but that's what I used was Nomic through Ollama locally. And then I haven't heard of LanceDB though. I also use PyUmp DB to go PDF to Markdown. So is that because you have some PDFs in Obsidian? And so you'll convert those PDFs into Markdown and then you'll send that off to do your embedding? That's really cool. LanceDB, I haven't heard of that. The vector database I used was called oh shoot. Why am I blanking on the name of it? Vector databases. Chroma. That's what it was. It was Chroma is the one I used. That's really cool, Pablo. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I hope that like, yeah, Chroma. Yep, you guessed it, Chroma. Yeah, I hadn't heard of LanceDB. Let me look at that real quick and let me add that to my list. Let's see. You guys give me so many, like literally every stream I do, chat gives me like 10 more things I need to go look at and learn about. It's becoming, I mean, I'm not really overwhelmed because I love to learn. Like I love being the ignorant learner. That's just such a fun place to be. But there's just only so many hours in the day, right? Let's see. Try using LanceDB. Lance is good. Great. Okay, cool. I'm adding that to the list. Let's see. Rag, you rock, bro. Oh, sorry, Rag, you rock. Please suggest. I missed your question, man. I'm sorry. The one and only Tails. Hey, how are you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. I'm confused. Choose language. Python or Java? Please suggest to me. So, I guess Ragnarok. Is this the first programming language you're ever gonna learn? Because if that's the case, I would actually probably point you to JavaScript or probably JavaScript myself. But that's just selfish of me because I just don't care for Python and I don't know enough about Java to recommend it. So I'd probably point you to JavaScript. And then if I could also convince you to use C# instead of Java, I probably would, just because I'm a little bit of a shill for modern C Sharp. But I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, if you're gonna pick one, try it, and if it doesn't catch you, don't give up. Like if you try to learn Python and you're like, this just doesn't really feel like my language, try a different one. I mean, that's why everyone doesn't use the same language, right? Some people gravitate to have. Everyone has a preference. So, Steve, you are the first person I saw actually use OneDrive. Yeah, I just use OneDrive because I have like 3 or 4 different Windows machines, and so it's kind of nice, especially like my desktop, just to be able to put things on a desktop and then it just be everywhere. It's kind of nice. Yeah, and Pablo made a great recommendation about Python. You are always wrong. There's someone that's going to say you're using the wrong language. Yeah, exactly what Pablo said. Because I've had people tell me that too. Like, hey, you need to learn this. Hey, you need to learn that. You shouldn't be learning this. Yeah, just be wrong. Enjoy the process, and don't give up. Right? Like you can always pick a different language to try and learn. Once you learn one, though, this is my opinion. Once you learn one, it becomes vastly easier to learn others, in my opinion. Pro gaming, do you know how to use Unity with C Sharp? I don't. I've never written any Unity. I have a colleague at work who builds games in his free time, and he loves Unity. And he says really high. He's a professional .NET developer, and he speaks very highly about the experience of working with C Sharp and Unity. So, but I can't really give you any recommendations on that front myself. You are also first person I saw using PowerShell and Terminal instead of just using WSL. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm probably one of the few devs, right, that probably is on the interwebs using a Windows machine and using PowerShell, and probably few using NeoVim on a Windows machine using PowerShell. uh, um, yeah. Uh, Alexei, I'm guessing that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, man. I'm apologize for that. But what are you coding? I'm actually taking a look at something called MCP. It's AI. It's an AI related piece of technology that Anthropic's developed. Is trying to create one protocol to help exchange data between different sources that LLMs can use, right? So like a common context protocol. So I'm trying to learn about how to build a model context protocol server, right? So this would be specifically how do I expose some data source through the model context protocol so that model context protocol clients can talk to that particular data source. And I'm literally going through their quick start, so I'm not doing anything very sophisticated. What is the difference of PowerShell and CWD? I've never used PowerShell, but I've used CMD. I think for me, PowerShell is just a better experience. CMD is kind of its. I mean, PowerShell and CMD are just their own things, right? PowerShell is a whole separate scripting language and terminal environment. The person that turned me on to getting more involved in PowerShell was Scott Hanselman. He's a Microsoft employee, but he's very active in the developer community. I watched one of his videos about like customizing his terminal using something called Oh My Posh. And yeah, how to make the ultimate terminal prompt on Windows. This was the video I watched. I watched this back in like literally in 2011, and that's what convinced me to like go all in on PowerShell more. Ragnarok. Which programming language is mostly used for tech and IT companies in your country? Ragnarok. It's very diverse, at least in the United States, and I think it's the same across the world. It's very diverse. I will say that it does seem to be like there does seem to skew like geographic location and company size seems to skew the language that's being used. Like, it seems like at least in the United States, it seems like enterprises tend to gravitate towards Java, .NET languages, the kind of like enterprisey, right? Whereas startups tend to go away from those things. Startups are using Go, or they're using Rust, or they're using JavaScript and TypeScript. Geographically, like, I'm near Kansas City. Kansas City seems like it's very much a .NET town. There is some Java shops, but it seems like a lot of enterprises here use .NET on the back end. So I think it just varies. I think if you're curious about that, like, scour the job listings in kind of your local market, right? If that's kind of what you're gonna use to base what language you learn, that's probably the best way to do it. Have you seen? Oh, I haven't seen General. Sorry, I was gonna look and then I got distracted. Let's see, Discord. Yeah, there's for people that don't know, there's a Discord link in my YouTube channel if you wanna join a Discord. Mining Bitcoin in Minecraft, nice. I'll have to watch it. People just have too much free time. That's hilarious. People do have too much free time. But that's I heard a quote yesterday that I thought was really, really good. I can't remember who was cited as saying it, but they said creativity is the residue of time wasted. Oh, it was Einstein. It was Einstein that said it. Which, to your point about mining Bitcoin in Minecraft, is like, there's an example of somebody with way too much time on their hand, right? But there's probably a lot of creativity, right? That activity helped, right? Let's see. Alexei, okay, not easy at all. Quite a lot of work. PowerShell is getting updated. Yeah, it's on version, I think it's on version 7 dot something, 7.5 or whatever. It's cross-platform now too. I mean, it's kind of weird because there's a Windows PowerShell and then there's PowerShell. And the Windows PowerShell is just specific to Windows, but PowerShell can be used on Linux, Mac, and Windows. And I use that. I use that cross-platform version of PowerShell. Pablo says, so your MCP is for a SaaS. What kind of integration are you building? So I really don't know at this point, Pablo. My company makes a SaaS platform that's basically, I mean, when you think of it from a technical perspective, it's kind of like a data store is how it gets used a lot. I mean, it has a lot of fancy features and GUI and everything over the top of it, but it's a data source, right? So I thought, it'd kind of be interesting and we have a public API. So I was kind of like, this would be interesting to see if I could expose that public API in an interesting way through the MCP to Claude, right? Just as an exercise of learning. But I don't have any idea, like, what's the functionality going to be yet. Alexei, I used to learn and code in Java, HTML, PHP, MySQL, also server management middle school. Well, that's awesome, man. I guess you stopped or went away from it. Ragu Rock, thank you, homie. Of course, man. Yeah, I think when it comes down to, like, how to make yourself job, and I'm really bad to give advice because I work as a quality engineer, not a software developer or a software engineer. But I think if your aim is to get a job, better look at the skills that the jobs around you or the company you want to work for is hiring for. That's probably the best way to go about it. Programming. I'm mining Bitcoin in Roblox Studio with Lua scripts. Nice, dude. That seems pretty crazy. The SaaS I work for requires auth, so MCP is not viable yet. So our SaaS has a public API. Pablo, I guess I should ask that question. So can the MCP do like make requests to authenticated endpoints type of thing? Pablo, what, you are not making software? Overqualified a bit. No, yeah, I don't build software. I build software in my free time, right? I write web apps in my free time and stuff. But my day job is a quality engineer. I do manual and some automated testing, a little bit of both. But yeah. But yeah, Pablo, I guess that I'm curious. So can I don't know anything about MCP servers at the moment. So I guess you're kind of my authority. But like, my idea was roughly to like have the MCP call our public API. Can it do things like that? Like if I pass a API key, or can it grab data that way? Oh, Alexei Crooks. Yeah, I stopped. Why'd you stop? I wonder. Curious why you stopped. Yeah, if you give it the token as parameter, it can, but you can't like ask the user for username and Oh, okay. Yeah, so if you're gonna if you're gonna do sort of like an OAuth flow, right, where you're gonna authenticate on behalf of the user, that wouldn't work. Okay, that's good to know. But I'm guessing that will come at some point. I mean, that seems like it would be a very common thing for a lot of cases. Yeah, bit insecure. Yeah, I just feel like so many apps nowadays, right? They require you to authenticate on behalf of the user using some sort of OAuth flow, right? So that seems like something that will come at some point. Okay, cool. So it seems my idea seems viable still, but yeah, okay. Probably again protecting your token, right? That's always the challenge. There is specification draft. You can look it up. MCP authentication. Man, Pablo's deep in this world. This is awesome. I'm getting to learn from like an actual. Let's see. MCP. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, look, it literally calls out on that page. It literally calls out OAuth 2.0 support. Yeah, yeah. I figured that would be a thing. 100% be a thing. Yeah, I mean, the whole MCP idea makes sense, right? It makes sense that you're gonna need a protocol like this in this AI world. The question I have though is, it seems like the protocol really needs to be adopted outside of one provider, right? You need to send the data over through the command or URL. Okay, good to know. Yeah, I guess the MCP thing, I just think it's like people probably aren't going to want to adopt MCP if it's tied to Anthropic only. It seems like you need another. It's kind of like the language server protocol, right? It's kind of that idea where it's like somebody like Anthropic needs to invite the whole of the AI community into it. In my opinion, for it to really catch on. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw you said you joined the Discord server. I kind of put an application process on that just because I didn't want I wanted to at least have some control over who came in. Let's see, members. Cool. Approve him. Approve Pablo. So whenever I have the MCP issues, I can just bug Pablo. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that. I won't do that. There you go. Yeah, there's a bunch of clients, and their adoption is what moves the standard forward. Yeah, so I think, so yeah, but the idea here makes so much sense, right? Having a unified protocol to exchange data, right? From all the different places that data can live. Seems like it's going to be very, very important. Alex Kusik, maybe I can learn some backend stuff. Of course, yeah, man. Get in here and start learning. There are a bunch of clients, or no, hold on. Steve1E, which backend API should I build? Give me some idea, please. I'm the least creative person ever. Steve1E, are you talking about for your next Go project? Is that what you're talking about? Also, guys, I just hit my hour, so I'll hang around for a few extra minutes, but then I gotta hop. I just want to be respectful of my actual allocated lunch break. The only advantage over just APIs is that there is a way to communicate requirements in an LL friendly way. Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah. But I think to me the main advantage of it over the API is the fact that it does allow you to have a standard that's unified across providers or services, particularly for people that are going to implement it, right? That are going to use it, right? I don't want to implement something that then ties me to a particular provider. Steve1E, I also want to make it stateless. Don't want to mess with the DB. Yeah, that makes sense because you're just trying to learn Go, so you don't want to be also focused on dealing with the data. But I guess that's probably going to be the next place to go, right? In the Go world, is like once you know how to do an API, then you probably need to figure out how to connect from Go to some database through whatever the community ORM preferred ORMs are. Yeah, but each provider can make their tools, which in an API would be the endpoints. Yes, agreed. Like that's one of my pain points right now with like if you go between Anthropic and ChatGPT, I don't think ChatGPT and Anthropic use the same tool definitions, right? For that whole tool use idea that they both support. I don't think you can use the same definitions, or at one point you couldn't, and it was kind of painful. I know Microsoft has been. They have a whole library called AI extensions.ai.abstractions or something, where they're trying to like build a layer over the top so you can swap out foundation model providers, which is pretty cool. So it's pretty much the same. Say you could make a REST API, document it thoroughly with OpenAPI. That could work. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Pablo. There's probably a few different ways to split it, right? Or cut a few different ways to skin the cat there. Steve1E, come on, give me some ideas. Okay, ChatGPT, yeah. Copilot. Steve1E, let's see, ideas. How about a Pomodoro? Not Pomodoro. How about a Sudoku solver? How about that? API that takes an endpoint, takes a Sudoku as an input, and then solves it, returns you the solution. How about some sort of AI wrapper, kind of on topic with what we're talking about? How about some sort of generate I don't know, what's a good one? Create a recipe creator, right? I'm trying to think of something that's stateless. Every idea that keeps coming to my mind, I'm like, oh no, you're gonna need a database for that. An AI wrapper might be interesting, right? Mayo Sloth Hoss, sup, Giga Chad? What's up, man? I wouldn't call myself a Giga Chad though. Sudoku? It's like a puzzle. Sudoku. So like you take the input of like a puzzle as like the numbers, and then the period, like do like periods in places of the empty boxes, or maybe just empty spaces or something. Like take this in as a string, and then it returns the solution. Too bad Go doesn't have that good support for transformers and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know anything about the Go community or that the development experience there. Pablo, you can make a wrapper over a local model. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Oh, okay. Sudoku, Sudoku. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I could. It's 100% possible I could be saying it wrong. Mayo Slothhoth. Nah, I disagree. Okay. Well, I don't know. I think Chad sometimes is a good thing, but other times it's not a good thing. So hopefully you mean it in a good way. You can make a wrapper over a local model. Yeah, totally. Yep, totally. All right, guys, I should run. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I'll be back tomorrow. Definitely, I'm gonna aim again. I'm gonna try to aim for about 2 o'clock Central Standard to stream. If you want to talk or chat outside of then, of course, there's a Discord link in my YouTube description. Happy to chat with you on the server there. Otherwise, I'll see you in another stream, another video, another short sometime. So, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll see you next time, y'all. Bye, guys.